Quick Question with Infomedia, your source for answers to your questions about websites, digital marketing, and more. I'm your host, Carrie Rollwagon, and today we are here with Elena Harmond. Welcome, Elena.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What is your job title and what were you doing before we had started the podcast?
My job title is marketing manager, and before we started recording, I was writing some copy for one of our clients.
Awesome. Okay, so you work on our social media here, correct?
Yes.
So today's question is, why is a social media strategy important? Like, why can't we just wing it? That's what everybody does,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
No, unfortunately, not really. It's easy to, wing it with like your personal Instagram, but when it comes to running a social media channel for a company, it's a little bit of a different process for sure.
Okay. Why?
Well, it's really important to be consistent. And, if you're trying to maintain engagement with your audience and communicate with them, consistency really is key. And so there are kind of a lot of things that actually do go into executing an effective social media strategy. It's mainly just to make it easier for us. Because if I woke up every morning and was like, what am I going to post for Infomedia today? It would probably be a pretty big struggle.
Yeah, that's
something
probably
that takes
true.
up a lot of time too.
Yeah. And you'd probably forget stuff. And if you're working with other departments to get, photos or something like that, then you won't get them, all that.
Exactly.
So, or what are some of the ways that you strategize and like plan it? Or what are some of the ways people can do that?
Yeah, so everything is planned pretty far in advance. Every month I sit down and generally about halfway through the month, we'll pull up a spreadsheet. It looks just like a calendar. That's at least just how I do it. But I will sit down, take a few hours, and plan everything for the next month in advance. So that way I know what photos I need. I know what captions need to be written, and what graphics I need to create, all that kind of stuff. And it's really helpful having that plan set in stone ahead of time. And then, once you have that calendar of your posts, then you can, like I said, gather your content, get the images, create any graphics you need, and go ahead and start planning the actual content around the posts.
Okay, so when you say like your spreadsheet looks like a calendar, does that mean like you set it up to have like every 7 days a week, or like how does that work?
Yeah, I did set it up that way. It's just easier for me, so it's really up to whatever works best for you. But I put like the days of the week at the top, and then I look at an actual calendar of the month and put the little dates, and then we usually do around 3 posts per week.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of just spread them out. Like, they're not always on the same days each week. Sometimes, there will be a Friday post and sometimes there won't, whatever, stuff like that. But yeah, it's really just a social media calendar.
All right. So how far in advance do you plan? Do you say you do a month at a time, but do you do it that month or the previous month, or how much do you?
So for the calendar, I do a month at a time. For the actual posts, we work in tandem also with Uptick Marketing, which is our sister company. But we basically plan the posts, I think it's 2 weeks in advance. So sending over those assets, like the graphics and the photos, all of that happens about 2 weeks before the actual content is posted.
Okay, so we send them, or you send them graphics and photos,
Mm-hmm.
and then they write the copy.
Mm-hmm.
So people can either work with somebody like Uptick, or they could also like do it themselves, and you could do the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Process. Okay. So do you use like a scheduler, or do you just like every day say like, okay, this is 2:00, ready to post? What?
Yes, so we do use a scheduler. It makes everything a lot easier. That it automates it pretty much. So you enter the posts. It lets you, you put the photos or graphics or whatever it is. You can even do videos, and then the caption and whatever. If like you're linking to like a blog post, or if you're linking to your website or anything like that, you can also include the link there. And yeah, the posts go in there. I go in and approve them. You can edit them if needed. And once they're approved, you can also see like the calendar that's in the platform, whatever platform you're using. We use Sprout Social, and it's really easy to work with. But you can look at your calendar and kind of see what you have going on that day. And we do post to 4 different channels every time we post. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And you can see exactly what time it's going to post where. It's also a good idea to look into the best times to post on which days, because there is actually kind of, obviously, like everything, there's some strategy behind that as well. But there's kind of some research about when people are looking at their phones and stuff like that throughout the day. So,
All right. So is that going to be the same for everybody, or is it kind of like see what works for your business? Or
it really depends on your business. A lot of people aren't looking at their phones too much during the workday, I would say. So sometimes it is better to do afternoon, but it really does kind of depend on the day and what your goals are and what is the nature of your business.
So as far as the strategy, like I understand the strategy as far as scheduling, but as far as the strategy of like what you actually post, is it the same like on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, or are there slightly different things that you always post on TikTok, for example, versus Instagram?
Definitely TikTok is different for sure.
Yeah.
It's more of a younger audience on there. You can be sillier, funnier. It performs better on TikTok when you are like feeding into whatever's viral. But yeah, it does depend on the platform. LinkedIn is definitely like a B2B platform. So that content is geared more towards that audience for sure, at least with the captions. As far as the actual posts, it's the same subject matter for our 4 main channels that we post to, but the captions are kind of different for each of the platforms.
So when you're getting your like, I know how to write copy. I think everybody at least knows theoretically how to write.
Yeah.
But how do you get the photos, and then where do you get the graphics when you do that? Like I know this will differ a little bit, but let people know what our process is.
Yeah, so we have photo shoots with our wonderful media team. Every so often, we've been doing it lately a little bit more often, so we try to do at least one per quarter.
Okay.
Just to get updated photos and, seasonal content, things like that. So, yeah, we work with our media team, but I feel like it's a great strategy to, no matter what, if you have a media team or not, I think you can still just spend a couple of hours every, few months and go out and take some photos, or go to your office and get, shots of people working and things like that, and just have sort of like a content bank that you can work with.
Awesome.
And as far as graphics, because it's not always possible to relate like a caption about your business to a photo. Sometimes it needs to be a more informational graphic, and we use Canva for those. And I also think we have an episode on that, so we'll link to that in the show notes.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, I think this is a good basis for strategy. You've convinced me.
Good.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So one quick question, as you know, is brought to you by Infomedia.
Carrie is the host and creator.
And Elena is our producer. And Brad Davis does our theme music. And like Elena said, we have show notes with links to anything we talked about today, and just also a summary at infomedia.com/quick-question.
And if you're interested in getting a new website, fill out the contact form at infomedia.com.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we will leave you with this thought. A real expert helps to clarify, not confuse. So don't take website advice from someone who can't give you a straight answer.